Morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm really excited to have Rebecca Anderson here with us and sharing information about Hawaii. I am a member of Rebecca's Facebook group, the Islands of Hawaii for Travel Advisors. And one of the reasons I like her group so much is she does not focus only on the resorts and that information. She puts all kinds of fun stuff in there, like Hawaiian words and things that are going on in the islands that your clients might be interested in doing if they happen to be visiting this week, and things like that. So I am going to turn it over to Rebecca and let her introduce herself a little bit better. And Rebecca, can you tell us um, why you are an expert in Hawaii?
Good morning, everyone, and aloha. I am from Hawaii, so I live there and know the islands inside and out because when you live in Hawaii, your travels take you to the other islands because traveling off the rock is a lot more challenging and more expensive. So I spent a lot of time on the other islands. I lived on two islands, Maui and Oahu. So I've done a lot of travel in the islands, and it's my grandparents live there too, so it's been part of our family forever. So
That's awesome. So I appreciate you agreeing to take the time to come on this morning and share this Hawaii 101 with us. I think I think at the end, I really want to make sure that you tell us a little bit more about what you have going on, because I know you've done some other things as well. So yeah, I'll let you go ahead and take over. And then if you guys have any questions, please feel free to pop them into the chat. And at the end of Rebecca's presentation, we will go through those and make sure that we've got them all answered for you.
all right, I'll share my screen now.
All right.
And we're gonna get that ready to go. All right. So Hawaii 101. So we're going to go over the basics of Hawaii. This isn't going to go too much into detail, but I am going to give you quite a few other details so you know what's on each island, who you should recommend it for, and just basically give you an overview of all the islands. So let's start with, I'm going to minimize the people here. There we go. Let's start with the different names of the islands. I'm going to start left to right. So that's oldest to youngest island. Kauai, Oahu, Molokai, Lanai, Maui, and Hawaii Island, which is also referred to as Big Island. And these are the airport locations for each island. So on Kauai is Lihue Airport, and you can kind of see where they're located on the island as well. On Oahu is Honolulu Airport, Molokai Airport, Lanai Airport. Maui is Kahului Airport, and then there's Kona and Hilo on Big Island. And in this presentation, we're only going to cover Kauai, Maui, Oahu, and Big Island, since those are the ones that most of the tourists are going to inquire about for you to book for them. So we're going to start with the oldest island, Kauai, and it's called the Garden Isle. And I put some points of interest on there so you can kind of see where the towns of like Hanalei is on the north shore, Waimea is down on the south shore. So you can kind of see where your hotels and things might be located. And some unique things about Kauai, and it's home to the world's wettest location, Waialeale, which receives over 450 inches of rain annually. So this is why it's kind of important to know that it rains a lot on Kauai. So when you have guests or clients that want to go to Kauai in the wintertime, it's always best to put them on the south shore, which is the leeward side of the island, so they don't have as much rain. If you put them on the north side, they're going to probably end up with quite a bit of rain. And then Kauai has the only navigable river in the islands, the Wailua River. Kauai also has a building code that no building can be taller than a palm tree. And some popular things to do and see on Kauai. Beaches, but they have botanical gardens, golf. The Kilauea Lighthouse is a popular thing. Reservations in advance need to be done, and they're only open Thursday through Sunday. There's lots of hiking. If you have avid hikers, this is a great place for that. Some do require permits, like the Nepali coast hike, so you have to get those ahead of time. There's kayaking down the Wailua River. Helicopter rides, I'd say these are some of the best ones out of all the islands, because you go across that Nepali coastline that's kind of in the background of this. They do have luau's there. There's a couple museums, and then the Nepali coastline, which is really popular. It's the main picture that you see of Kauai. There's scenic drives. There's snorkeling and sunset dinner cruises. Surfing lessons, Waimea Canyon, which is the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. So if you've ever been to the Grand Canyon, this is pretty similar to that. And then there's also zip lines. So who should you recommend Kauai to? Anyone that wants to relax and get away from it all. There's not a lot happening on Kauai. It is very rural, and not a lot of action and not a lot of like city life. There's not much shopping. There's not hardly any nightlife. There's a little bit, but it's a place where you go to just chill. People who don't like crowds and touristy places, this is the place to go because it's not as crowded as the other islands. However, the traffic can be kind of crummy around Kapa'a. Outdoorsy types and adventure seekers, so those that love hiking and kayaking, zip lines, helicopter tours, things like that, that would be perfect. And then it's avid hikers, hands down. It's got a lot of great hikes there. And moving on to Oahu, it's the gathering place. This is the most populated island. This is where Waikiki is, and on the map here you can kind of see where these locations are. So the North Shore is considered where Haleiwa is, the little town that's famous up there. And then I put in Turtle Bay so you can kind of see how far away that resort is from everything else. And then Kualoa Ranch, which is, you know, it's a little bit of a drive, where a lot of the popular ATV tours and stuff are. And then Ko'olina is where Disney's Aulani is located. And some unique things about Oahu is it's home to the only royal palace in the US. So the Iolani Palace housed actual kings and queens of Hawaii. Waikiki was once a swamp, and Waikiki in Hawaiian means spouting water, which is what it was back in the day before they built it up and made it a tourist attraction. Oahu is the most populated island with about 1 million people that call it home. And Oahu is home to the largest open air mall in the United States, and that's the Ala Moana Mall. Some popular things to do and see on Oahu, the aquarium in Waikiki, which is worth going to, the Baiota Inn Temple, which is a Buddhist temple located on the windward side of the island, the Dole Plantation, there's pineapple tasting, they have a great maze there. They have a botanical garden, which I don't necessarily think it's that great unless you're really into plants. And they have a train ride and some other activities there. Helicopter rides are also offered here. There's lots of great hiking on Oahu. There are a lot of illegal hikes too, so make sure that you're not recommending things like the Stairway to Heaven to your clients because it's illegal. The Iolani Palace, which I mentioned, it's very historical, and they do tours, but only allow so many tours per week and so many people per day. And they do not allow small children and strollers. So make sure you book that in advance and make sure they don't have little toddlers because they won't allow them. And the Kualoa Ranch, which I mentioned, has the ATV tours, the Jurassic Park movie tours, and things like that. There's a lot of great luau's on Oahu. Some of the popular ones are Paradise Cove and Germain's. And I believe the Royal Hawaiian in Waikiki has a pretty good luau too. I've never been to that one though. Museums, there's a lot of great museums here, a lot of history. The Bishop Museum is definitely worth going to. You can spend hours in there, and they have a lot of great history about ancient Hawaiians and artifacts, and lots of stories about their tiki gods and a lot of their old customs. There's nightlife on Oahu. So there is some in Waikiki. There used to be more, but they've shut most of them down. But Chinatown is where most of the nightlife is on Oahu. And so if your clients want to go out and party on the weekends or during the nighttime, that's the island they want to go to for that. Then there's the famous North Shore.
Can I ask you a quick question? Because if I don't know if it cut out for everybody, but it cut out just a little bit for me. What did you say was shut down a lot in Waikiki?
A lot of the nightclubs in Waikiki have shut down.
Huh.
There used to be a ton of them. Now they've kind of migrated more towards Chinatown.
Interesting. Okay, thank you.
PCC, which is the Polynesian Cultural Center, that is basically kind of like a theme park. You go through different islands of Polynesia and you do different activities and watch different live shows, and they have a parade with the dancers down the like a river, and then you can go to a luau, and then their show Ha is phenomenal. It's definitely worth going to. But it's an all-day experience. So keep that in mind when you recommend that to your clients. Pearl Harbor, which is one of the most popular things to see and do there. You don't necessarily need to book them a tour for this. If they have a car, they can drive to Pearl Harbor and it's free. So they can walk around the museum there and check it all out. But to do the ferry ride to the Arizona Memorial, you need to book a ticket in advance. And you can do that on the government website. And it's only $1 per ticket. And then you pick a tour time and you show up for that tour time, and then they take you with your ticket. So they release those tickets about 8 weeks in advance. There's scenic drives. If you get outside of Waikiki, there's so much to see and explore. So definitely recommend that to your clients. There's shark cave dives on the North Shore area of, it's more so the western side of Oahu is the shark cage dives. Skydiving, which I've done that here and it's phenomenal. Snorkeling, there's a lot of great places to snorkel. If you can get tickets to Hanauma Bay, definitely recommend that, but it's usually best to book a tour for Hanauma Bay because it's so hard to get those tickets. There's a lot of sunset dinner cruises and booze cruises out of Waikiki. And I'll tell you from experience, the booze cruises, you're going to come back stumbling. So be prepared for that. Lots of great surfing lessons. Waikiki is where I learned to surf. It's a great place to learn to surf because the waves aren't very big. So that's a plus. And then there are some great zip lines at the North Shore. And who should you recommend Oahu to? People who like shopping, nightlife, and a lot going on. It's a city. It's a big city on an island. So there is concerts and nightlife and festivals and so much going on. So if you have people that like to be in the mix with the city life, that's definitely where to go. Outdoorsy types and water sports. It's one of the only places that you can jet ski. So you could do that on Oahu, and there's tons of hikes and lots of great things to do and see if you get outside of Waikiki. Anyone that's into history, museums, and movie locations, a good majority of that is on Oahu. There's a lot more museums and history on Oahu. And then foodies, there is a plethora of great restaurants on Oahu. So if you're really into food, that's the place to go. And our next island of Maui, it's called the Valley Isle. And I am showing you some of the areas of Maui so you can see kind of where the hotels and stuff might be located. And as we all unfortunately know what happened to Lahaina, so this area right here is off limits. But Ka'anapali is opening back up, same with Kapalua. We just need to keep an eye on which hotels are going to start opening for that. But this whole area over here was not affected by the fires. So definitely send your clients to Kihei and Wailea and Hana. And some unique things about Maui is Maui has the world's largest dormant volcano, Haleakala, which sits at over 10,000 feet, and it sometimes gets snow. So you could go to the beach and see snow on the same day. And they usually shut down the road though if it gets snow because they don't have the equipment for there. So if you see snow on Haleakala, you better check the road conditions if you're planning to go up for sunset. And which brings me to my next point, that if you do plan to go to Haleakala, make sure you bring a coat. It is cold up there and it's windy, so you will freeze. So Maui is the best island to see humpback whales when they are there. They like to hang out in between Lanai and Maui. So your chances of seeing humpback whales during the wintertime is a lot higher on Maui than the other islands. And Maui is home to the largest banyan tree in the US, and it has survived the fires. So I have been hearing growth coming from it, and that it was kind of in a coma, but it has survived. So this is fantastic news. And Captain James Cook was the first European to see Maui. And some popular things to do and see on Maui. There's a couple botanical gardens. Breweries, the Maui Brewing Company is here, if you want to do that. And I think there's one more that just recently opened up. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Golf, there's lots of great golf courses there on both sides, on west side and south side of Maui. Haleakala, like I mentioned earlier, you can do sunrise and sunset. The sunrise is very hard to get a reservation for. So you probably have to book a tour to be able to guarantee that for your clients, because they only release those and you have to be right on top of it right when they release it to get those tickets. But if your clients don't want to do a tour, I recommend sunset. There's no ticket needed for sunset. And I think it's just as phenomenal because once the sun goes down, then you can stargaze, and the stars are amazing up there. And again, bring a coat. It's cold. There's helicopter tours, which I think are great because they take you over on the east side over by Hana, and it's beautiful over there. There's a ton of great hiking all over Maui. There's horseback riding here and kayaking. They have the clear kayaks that you can kayak around on the ocean with. And there's even been times when people have kayaked and a humpback whale will pull up next to them too. So you can see them up close. They're very curious creatures. There's a lavender farm that's kind of fun to walk around. And luau's, there used to be some of the best luau's ever, the old Lahaina luau, but unfortunately, because of the fires, the only luau's open right now are in Wailea. I think there might be one more upcountry somewhere, or I'm not sure. I have to, don't quote me on this. I have to look and see, because there's so much iffiness with West Maui, but most of the ones were burnt up in the fire, unfortunately. The Maui Ocean Center is the aquarium there at the Ma'alaya Harbor, and it's definitely worth going to. I highly recommend it. It is a little spendy, but they have this humongous tank of rays and sharks and all kinds of fish, and I can sit there for hours and just watch them. But it has a lot of great education and a lot of great marine life for you to look at there. There's pineapple farms there and a winery that makes pineapple wine, and you can do wine tasting there, and that's in upcountry. That's definitely worth checking out. And then the most famous thing to do here is the road to Hana, which most people have heard of. You can either book your clients a tour or they can drive it. I usually recommend my clients to drive it on their own, so they can stop and stay however long they want at any place. But I also know Hana inside and out, so I give them pretty detailed instructions on what to do there. So I definitely do your homework on that one, because there's a lot to see and you'll miss a lot if you've never done it. So and to recommend to them, if they are going to do that, to make sure if they get car sick to take Dramamine, because that road, same with Haleakala, that road is so windy that if you get car sick at all, you're not going to have a good time. And then a lot of the car companies won't let you drive the backside of Maui, so keep that in mind. However, if you rent a car with Kihei Rent-A-Car, they don't care if you drive the cars on the backside of Maui, and they do pay commission to travel agents, so reach out to them. But yeah, the road to Hana, we could talk about that all day, so I'll move on. There's lots to do and see out there. Snorkeling is fantastic on Maui. If you do a tour, I highly recommend the tours to Molokini. It's a crater out off the shore of Maui, and it has fantastic snorkeling out there. There's some great sunset dinner cruises that go out of the Ma'alea Harbor. Surfing lessons, they have those in Kihei, and they had them in Lahaina, but I don't know if they're going to be doing those right now because of what happened. But in Kihei, at Kalama Park area, there are surfing lessons right there, and it's decent. Whale watching, obviously, it's one of the best areas, and zip line. There is a zip line there. And who should you recommend Maui to? First-time visitors to Hawaii. Anyone that's never been to Hawaii, Maui is usually what I recommend because it has a little bit of everything. It has Kahului, which is it's a small city, but they have some city life. They do have some nightlife in Kihei, and it has that old Hawaii charm and that old Hawaii feel still to it without being like overly touristy. However, when I was there in May, I noticed the traffic has gotten a lot worse than when I lived there. So it has a little bit of everything for everyone to do, so you're not going to be bored, but it also has some of the best beaches that you want to lounge to, which brings to the next one. People who love the beach and want to spend a lot of time there. There are so many amazing beaches, and most of them are swimmable there in Maui too. The outdoorsy types, hikers and adventure seekers, there's tons to do, lots of adventure to be had here. And then looking for a little romance, honeymooners and couples, this is a great place because there's just something about Maui that has that romance feel to it. And moving on to Hawaii. Well, actually supposed to be Hawaii is technically how you're supposed to pronounce it. It's also referred to as the Big Island. And you can see here where some notable places are located, so you can kind of see how far away things are. To drive from one side of the island, like from Kona to Hilo, it takes you 2 hours. So this is a much bigger island than the other islands. So keep that in mind when you're placing your clients here. And it's about a 30-minute drive from Waikoloa to Kona. So keep that in mind as well. And some unique things about Big Island. Hawaii Island is still growing due to ongoing volcanic activity. As the volcanoes erupt, the lava flows into the sea and generates more land. So Hawaii Island is getting bigger and bigger every day. Hawaii Island is home to the biggest mountain in the world, Mauna Kea. It stands at 13,000 feet above the ocean, but most of it is underwater, so it's actually a total of 33,000 feet. Hawaii Island has the only green sand beach, and that's located on the south tip of the island. Things to do and see on Big Island. They have ATV tours. Those are pretty popular here. Black Sand Beach. However, Maui does have a black sand beach too. It's out in Hana. I forgot to mention that. So there is a pretty famous black sand beach here, and you can just drive up to it and go check it out. Botanical gardens. Lots of fantastic coffee farms. If you're into Kona coffee, this is the place to go. One of my favorites is Greenwell Coffee Farms, and it's the oldest farm over 100 years old on the island. And they have coffee plants that are also the original coffee plants that are over 100 years old, and they still produce coffee. There's lots of great golf courses here, especially around the Waikoloa area. Helicopter tours, these are fantastic because you can go and see the lava flow when it's flowing. And you can see the tops of some of the great mountains there. And there's lots of hiking here as well. I would say that the hiking here might be a little more advanced for people, just because Hawaii Island is very rugged. So not a whole lot of beginner hikes. There's a few. So just keep that in mind. There's horseback riding here. That's a lot of fun. There's the hot ponds. However, I don't know if they're open anymore. I know they were temporarily closed down for a while, but these are pools that are heated by the volcanic activity. So they're kind of like a hot springs. So you have to double check that to make sure that they're back open. I know they were shut down for a while. There's lava tubes you can explore there. There's also that on Maui too. I forgot to mention that. They do have luau's. The manta ray night swim is hands down one of the best things to do here. I did that a couple of years ago, and it was such an amazing experience. There's a couple different options for that. You can take a boat out from Kona out into the ocean to do it, but I recommend doing it at the Mauna Kea hotel resort, because they do it right off of their beach. And you can book that even if you're not a guest at the resort. So keep that in mind. So you can just walk right out to the beach. And the lady that leads it is a marine biologist that works with these manta rays. So she even named them, and they have tags and everything, and they're just gentle giants. It was so cool. So I definitely recommend that. There's a seahorse farm there that is like a museum as well. It's a little on the pricey side, but it's pretty neat to check out. There is snorkeling tours. I'd recommend snorkeling tours over doing it yourself, because the water can be a little more rough on Big Island. And so they kind of take you out away from the shore a little bit. I mean, you still could do it from shore, but you got to be a good swimmer on Big Island, I would think, because their water feels a little more rough. There's sunset cruises out of Kona too. And then the other most popular thing here is Volcanoes National Park, where Kilauea is, and it erupts from time to time. And there's times when it just has the volcanic activity inside the crater, and you can see the dark glow at night. So make sure if you go to Volcanoes National Park that you stay until it's dark so you can see that glow. It's the coolest thing. And then you can drive through. The park is humongous, so you're going to spend the whole day there. There are petroglyphs down there that you can hike to. There's old volcanic activity that went over a road, and you can walk right up to it. And then when the lava is flowing, it just depends on the direction where you can see that or not. Best way to see it is a helicopter tour. And then there are zip lines, and I'd say the zip lines hands down are the best on this island. The Umama experience, which they do work with travel agents and pay commission, and Project Expedition, I believe, carries them. They have a zip line that goes over a waterfall. It's pretty cool. I've done that zip line, and it is one of the best ones I've ever done. And so who should you recommend Big Island to? Anyone that wants to see an active volcano. That's the only island that has it. So Kilauea is the only active volcano, except sometimes, now I'm running a blank, Mauna Loa recently erupted, but it had been decades. So, I mean, it could do it again. So people aren't looking for a typical beach vacation. Big Island is not known for their beaches. There's only a couple, a handful of really nice beaches. And most of the resorts are going to be on like rocky black lava rock. So if they're expecting a beach, then you're going to need to book them at like the Westin Hapuna, Mauna Kea Hotel, and some of those up in Waikoloa that are on actual beaches, the Fairmont Orchid, and they have beaches, but most of them in Kona, they're not going to have that. Outdoorsy types, hikers, adventure seekers, there's lots and lots to do outside here. Getting out, and there's jungle, there's lava fields. So there's a mix of a bunch of different things. And lower budgets. And people who don't mind doing a lot of driving, because there's a lot of driving involved on this island, and you really cannot get around without a car here. So everything's so spread out and so far apart that it's going to be super inconvenient. And the reason why I say lower budgets is Hawaii Island tends to price out the lowest out of all the islands. So if you've got someone with a really tight budget and they want to go to Hawaii and they don't care which island, you can try this one first. And then I want to show this video about traveling to Maui.
Aloha, maha, our beloved Maui. Our people and place have endured immense challenges and hardship since August 8th.
Our island community is still reeling from the devastation caused by the wildfires in Lahaina and Maui. We continue to rely on the Aloha family and friends to see us through the evolving changes in our day-to-day lives.
As you visit our home, we ask for your respect and understanding, as so much has changed. You may experience some of these changes for yourself, from our children who lost their schools and are being shuffled between various locations throughout the island, to the families who lost everything, now staying in the very resorts where you may be. When you see these members of our ohana, our family and friends, please show them kindness and compassion.
While West Maui will have a long, long road to recovery, there are parts of Maui that will gladly welcome you and your families. From a majestic ride to Hana, shopping and dining in the beachside town of Paia, to a visit to the upcountry farmers market on the slopes of Haleakala, and the amazing dining options in Wailea. When looking for a gift idea on Maui or finding the right foodie experience, consider a Maui-based business. For a great list of options, visit MauiNuiFirst.com.
The losses we face are island-wide, and the road to recovery is not easy. Please respect the areas that we have lost. Stay away from the burn zone. Refrain from taking and posting inappropriate images, especially in these areas. And adhere to signage and instructions where posted.
And while many of us head back to work during the phased reopening of West Maui, behind the smiles and friendly faces, we are all still healing and learning to cope with this heartbreaking loss. For more information on how you can support our island home and people, please visit MauiNuiStrong.info. Welcome to Maui. We ask for your respect.
Welcome to Maui. We ask for your support.
Welcome to Maui. We ask for your understanding.
Welcome to Maui. We ask for your aloha.
That one gets me every time I watch it because I have a lot of ohana still. I can't get back to the thing. I have a lot of ohana that are still dealing with all of this there, and I used to live there, so there we go. So it's heartbreaking for me to watch it still. It's hard for me to watch it.
Yeah. Is that a video that's out somewhere that
Yes, it is posted in my Facebook group that I have. So everybody can watch that. They can share it on their social media and share it with their clients. It's so important that we respect and to malama, to care for what those people went through there. But it's a double-edged sword because they're grieving and they have a lot of road to recovery still left, but they rely so heavily on tourism that it's so important that we do still send clients there, especially like to Kihei and Maui, because most of my ohana is actually in Kihei and Wailea area. So they weren't affected directly, by the fires. So they are still having to work, and some of them were getting laid off because people stopped coming, and they still have bills to pay too. So it's just so important that we keep sending people to the areas that weren't affected and just stress to them about being respectful travelers and staying out of, the burn zone and that kind of thing. So I only have a few friends that were directly affected in Lahaina, and luckily they're all accounted for. So I'm grateful that none of them passed away from it, but some of them lost everything. So it's very hard. And I know we did in my group a fundraiser because I have a good friend there that he took it upon himself to get supplies to people that were trapped on West Maui when it all first happened, because he owns a boat. Because they shut down the highway, things were not getting to people on the west side. So he said, forget it, I'm going to help them out. And he gathered and bought stuff with his own money and brought water and food and clothes and things to people by his boat. So, and he continued to do that. And so we did a fundraiser in my Hawaii group, and I was able to get people to order from the Amazon list that he had for things that they needed, and we got financial donations to me, and I just distributed it right to him. And they did want me to tell everyone that they are so thankful and so grateful for everyone's help, and they really appreciated it. So, and his little grassroots efforts has grown, so there's a lot more people that are helping. He got a farm to butcher a cow to help feed, and they did a big barbecue. Some of the farmers have donated a lot of vegetables and things too. So he's gotten a lot of help, and it was great because a lot of the bigger corporations weren't getting the help to the right people. So So it was great that we were able to do that.
That's awesome, because even, you have Maui Strong government, has
Mhm.
all these programs, but sometimes those wheels turn really slowly.
Yeah, that's what they were
Yeah.
saying. And there was
Yeah.
people trapped over there before they opened the highway that had no clean clothes and no food and water, and or they didn't have any gas to drive out, so they were bringing everything to them. So, and then they didn't have power and stuff for a while, and their water was contaminated, and yeah, so it was just a big mess. But I am excited to see how much it's grown, and other people. I know that's one thing I love about Maui when I lived there is such a tight community. Because when I very first moved to Maui, I didn't know anybody. I knew one person, and it grew, and I'm still very close with all of them. And yeah, it's just it like brought back my faith in humanity living there. So it's a different vibe than Oahu where I lived, but it's one of my favorite places on earth. So to see all that happening, I was just in tears, and then worried about my friends and family, and just once everyone was accounted for, I could finally breathe. So, and I felt so helpless being so far away.
Is
So
where do you live now?
I live in Florida now.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved from Hawaii to Oregon, and then I couldn't deal with the weather. So Florida was a close second. So
Right.
but on this screen here, I just want to say if you're gonna sell Hawaii, I strongly encourage you to get certified with gohawaii.com. And they do an overview of all the islands, so you can get a better understanding of them as well. It does scratch the surface a little, but it's pretty good, especially if you don't know anything about Hawaii. And then they have catalogs and things that you can give to your clients and other resources that will help you. And they keep you up to date on things happening in the islands, like when the fires happened and back when we had to do COVID testing and all that to go there too. So definitely check that out. And then join me on Facebook. So my group, and I teach you all things Hawaii, from music and culture and language and resorts and tourist attractions and suppliers, and it's all there. So please join us. Just make sure you answer the required questions, and agree to the group rules. Otherwise it'll decline you. So yeah. And then I'll go back because I got it out of order. Open for question and answer. And
Let's
I
see.
will exit full screen here. So, and I'll give you your screen back.
Okay.
I think your desktop one, maybe. Oops.
I don't know. You should just be able to
Oh,
stop.
there it is. There it
share.
is. Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's go back up here and see what we've got. So you did see on Rebecca's screen what her Facebook group is. It's also, if you didn't quite catch it, it's posted at the very top of the chat. So it's the Islands of Hawaii for Travel Advisors. And there's also a link that Rebecca put in there you can copy and paste. Let's see what we've got. Will the presentation be shared following the meeting? Yes, we have it being recorded, and I will be putting it in the TA Toolkit Facebook group. Rebecca, if you want the link to it, we can also get that for you, and you can share that in your group as well if you want to.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'll be putting it in the TA Toolkit YouTube channel, so you can just we can just get you to share it from there or something like that.
Okay.
Oh, let's see. Jessica, me too. I cried when watching that video. Thank you for sharing. So, yeah, that was very touching and very appropriate. Kara, can you please repeat your Facebook group? We did that. Catherine, what resort do you recommend for the Century Tournament of Champions golf tournament for a honeymoon?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know where the Century Tournament of Champions golf tournament is. Can you let me know which island that's on?
Yeah, if you'll let us know that, Catherine, we'll get back to that. Lori, what was the name of the resort you recommended we reserve for the manta ray swim?
That's the Mauna Kea Resort in Waikoloa.
And they do it right from the
beach. Yep.
Mhm.
They do have some here, I'll just type it in there.
But I think it's MAUNAKEA.
Yeah, I just put it in the chat.
There we go.
So, I lost my train of thought. They do have some blackout dates for just their guests. So make sure you go into if you go into their website and book it. Just keep in mind though, you do not get commission off of this though, but it'll be an amazing experience for your clients that they're going to rave about, and it's going to still make you look like a rock star. So
Yeah.
especially
It'll
anybody
pay for
that's especially anyone that's timid and are a little bit weird about a boat, because to me, honestly, I don't really want to go out in a boat in the ocean at night because there's the risk of sharks. So there's that, and if anyone's scared of that, where if you go off the beach and at the Mauna Kea resort, you're not very far offshore. So your risk is going to be lower with that. And the lady that's with you, there was a person in our group that had never really snorkeled before, and she helped them and held their hand, and like, she is amazing. So I can't like say anything more good about them. So okay, Catherine,
said it's in Maui.
okay. I'm not sure what area of Maui the championship is. I don't know if it's in Wailea or if it's in Kaanapali, but for a honeymoon, if it's in Wailea, it's just going to really depend on their budget, because Wailea is pretty expensive. I would say any of the resorts really in Wailea. I know that some people don't like the Grand Wailea because there's a lot of kids there, so there's that. The Andaz is fantastic. I personally like the Wailea Beach Resort, which is the Marriott there. They have an adults only infinity pool. That's pretty amazing. It's not right on the beach, but it's a really short walk to the beach that's next door, which is in front of the Grand Wailea. The Fairmont Kealani is also great. And the Four Seasons is fantastic if they can afford that. If they want an adults only experience, the only adults only resort also is Hotel Wailea. It's not on the beach, but it's the only adults only resort in all the islands. So it depends on what they want. If it's in Kaanapali, it's really going to depend on when and what's open at the time. So if the Westin is open, that would be a great one. I think the Sheraton's pretty great, and Kaanapali too. There's also, I mean, it's just really going to depend on your clients and when they're going and what area the tournament is. If you come to the group, once you got all those details and you pop it in there, then we can definitely give you advice on what you found and what fits in their budget too. So
good point. It's a good active group. Regina, thank you so much. I've not been, and I'm going next week, and I have my first client interested as well. Congratulations, Regina.
Awesome, Regina. Which island are you going to? And Rebecca Landry, yes, the banyan tree is off limits to clients right now because it's right in the middle of the burn zone.
And while we're waiting for Regina, do you have any advice on arranging your own fam trip?
Your own fam trip? Let's see.
Fam trip. I'll be going next year and would like to take a day to do my own fam.
Oh, okay. Just reach out to your hotel contacts that you want to tour the resorts, and they're usually really great about setting that up with you. So if you want to get in touch with me in the group or whatever, I can give you contacts if you need contact people. I know Highgate Hotels, which is, I don't know which island you're going to either, but Highgate Hotels is like the Alohilani and the Twin Fin, and they just acquired some new other hotels on Kauai too. They offer a travel agent rate, and it's just required that you do a site inspection with them, and the rate's really good. Like, we stayed at the Twin Fin last year. I did a fam trip with my group last year or this year in May, and they got us a rate that was less than $200 a night at the Twin Fin. So it was like $100-something a night, which was pretty awesome. So yeah, so reach out to me and I'll get you contacts.
Stacy wants to know if you have any information on Hawaii Hanua Kai. Do I say it right?
Okay, that one is in Kaanapali. You would need to reach out to Geraldine Harvey. If you get in touch with me, I can give you her contact, or you're gonna have to contact Outrigger to find out any information. So I don't know. I don't know resort specific on that kind of thing.
And it looks like Regina, who we talked about a moment ago, she is going to be on Norwegian. So
okay.
she's got those stops, and she was asking about, let me get back to make sure we got it. Next week and first client interested. Okay, that's what she was letting us.
Cool. I'd love to get your input, and if you are in the group of your experience on the Norwegian, I'd love to hear how that is.
Yeah, I did that. That's the only time I've been to Hawaii. So I did that, gosh, 2017 maybe. So it's been a few years ago. And I didn't do any of the ship excursions. I just set up, we rented a car everywhere except Kailua Kona.
Oh, okay.
We had a convertible, and we took that to the road on the road to Hana. We went and did the sunrise at Haleakala and rode the bikes down.
Oh, you did the bikes. You're brave.
So much fun. I was scared to death.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun. One of the best experiences of my life. And maybe I haven't lived much, but I loved it. We stopped at the lavender farm and had some breakfast, and yeah, it was just amazing.
Awesome.
We rented a Jeep and took that to the Waimea Canyon on Kauai. And we had a great time. So, but there's so much. I mean, you listed so much to do, too much to do, but it was a nice taste of the islands. Just to get a little bit of experience. There is something I was going to mention. You talked about the Polynesian Cultural Center on Oahu, and all the great shows and the luau and the ha'a that they have. They don't serve alcohol at their.
No, they do not, because Polynesian Cultural Center is actually run by the Mormons.
Right.
So in case anybody didn't know that.
That's important for you to know for your clients, that they do not serve alcohol at the luau. So
yeah.
So can't handle that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, let's go back up here, make sure I don't miss anything. Stacy wants to know if you have any information on volunteer opportunities for visitors. My clients are interested in helping with Habitat for Humanity or something similar while they're there in January.
Yes, there is some of that starting to trickle in now, because I think they're starting to get some things organized. I know that Go Hawaii has posted some of those, so you can always check there. And as I catch wind of them, I post that in the group too. So I think there is one that I just recently got that I'll post in the group this weekend or something.
And I know when I was at the ASTA convention last year, that I can't remember her last name, Robin, with the Travel and Visitors Bureau. She talked about some volunteer opportunities as well.
Yeah, so go to gohawaii.com and you'll find some of that there.
Yeah. Alyssa said thank you. And Regina said it's the Norwegian Spirit, not the Pride of America that she's going on.
Okay.
And Tahiti, nice.
Yeah.
Lori did the Pride of America this past November. Regina's, I think what she said, that's what we're doing too. I think she means what I said about renting the cars. And Angela, I spent 2 weeks on the Big Island back in 2003. I'm so overdue for another visit. My son turned 4 while there, and he celebrated his birthday every night.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Oh, goodness. I think I got through all the questions. Are there any others before we let Rebecca go?
Alicia had said the Facebook group is not showing in my chat. If you scroll to the very top of the chat, it should be there, or you can search Facebook for the Islands of Hawaii for Travel Advisors. And I know it's really long, a long title, but it was fitting.
I did direct message that to her as well. So
okay.
Kara, thank you for a great presentation. And yes, thank you for a great presentation. You were only able, like you were saying, scratch the surface.
Yeah.
But there is just so much to know, because one of the things that you'll learn if you get that certification from Go Hawaii is that each island has its own personality. And I think Rebecca did a good job of kind of showing us that today. And you'll learn maybe a little bit more, but just maybe a little bit different in Go Hawaii, because yeah, it is good. And then, like she said, once you've done that, you've got access to so many resources. When you said that, I looked over and looked at some of the Hawaii maps I have hanging on the wall here in my office that I got from them. And I use them sometimes when I'm working on Hawaii for a client. They're a lot nicer than having to look on a screen and figure it out.
Let me grab something. I'm gonna grab something to show you guys all, since we still have a few more minutes.
Regina, I agree. Her Facebook group is great.
So when you're on island, grab these. Because that will, like, this is just for the week that you're there. Tell your clients to grab these. They're free. They're at the airport. And then they have coupons, and then they talk about things that are going on, during the week that you can check out. And they have some other information, so that way, if they're not really sure what they want to do and they kind of want to wing it, and they can do that. And then when you're there, grab them and read them and use them for your clients too. I mean, it gives you more information, just arms you with it. So I always grab them every time I go, just because they're more current and it keeps me up to date. And because sometimes a new activity will pop up or something that I didn't know about or whatever. So but
yeah, nice if you can share some of those things with your clients.
Yeah, and then like this one here, it's also got that and that. So you could take these home and scan it and then put it in your own documents and give them. So you use all that to your advantage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Use whatever you can. Recording of this webinar, yes, Stacy, it'll be on the TA Toolkit YouTube channel, and I'll post the link in my group, and I'll share the link with Rebecca if she wants to post it in her group as well. So there definitely will be, we've got it being recorded. What did you say about a certain car rental in Maui that only allows access to a certain spot? It was about going the back side of the road.
So driving the backside of Hana. So if you're renting a rental car from Alamo and, all the ones, budget and all those ones at the airport in Maui, they're going to tell you when you pick up your car that you can't drive the backside of Maui. So the backside of Maui is past the 7 sacred pools. So once they go to the 7 sacred pools, they are supposed to turn around and drive back the way they came in. But I think the backside is pretty cool, but I mean, I've done it a million times. It's a sketchy road. It's gravel and a lot of blind corners and 1-lane roads. So you have to drive carefully. But Kihei Rent-A-Car, I'm going to type it in the chat. They will work with travel agents. You just got to get set up with them. So contact them. And they rent older cars. So if your clients don't care that they're driving a 2015 or a 2016, an older car with some dents and dings, then they do have newer cars too, but they allow you to drive it on the backside of Maui. So if you want to do that full loop around Hana, they'll let you do it.
Nice.
So I don't know if they have trackers or anything in the newer rentals, so I don't know if I'd risk it. So because if you break down back there, that's basically what it is. They don't want you to break down back there and have to come get you because it is extremely remote and it takes a very long time to get out of there. So but if they want to do that adventure, then go for it. And then I also recommend the Shaka Guide when they do the road to Hana or do any driving scenic tours around any of the islands. The Shaka Guide does a fantastic job. They gave me a couple to try out. I didn't like the fact that they did the reverse to Hana, because I strongly don't recommend you driving the back way in first and out the other side to Hana, because you're going against the flow of the main traffic and there's a lot of one-way bridges and roads, and it's more dangerous. So I don't recommend that. So I was a little upset that they did that tour in their stuff. So, but
They're
I
not that
wouldn't
expensive
recommend it.
either.
What's that?
The Shaka Guide, it's not that
It's
expensive
not. It's like what, $15, 15 to 20
something like that.
bucks. And
Yeah.
then they have fun music and little tidbits about culture and history, and then all the stops along the way. And you can pause it as you go. And no, I'm not getting any kind of compensation for recommending them, but I do recommend them. They're great, and they pay commission if you get set up with them. So
Alyssa wants to know if you have an update on the airport construction
is that for
island.
Honolulu? I know they've been doing Honolulu airport construction for a while. I don't know if that's what you're referring to. I don't know any updates other than what you would Google and find online. And
Alright.
this was one other thing I wanted to mention too, is Google Maps is going to be your friend with booking Hawaii. Like, just get to the island and zoom in, and because I know that the Hawaiian names are hard to understand and pronounce, and a lot of the islands have the same names on each island. So there's a Waimea in Kauai, there's a Waimea on Big Island. And so to make sure you know which is which, I strongly encourage everyone to use Google Maps. And then you can dial in on the hotel. And if you're wanting restaurant recommendations, just click the restaurants button, and then you can click on them and see ratings and what's around it. As that's a question that we get a lot in the group. And it's like, just open up Google Maps and it'll tell you right there. So
My best friend in this job.
yeah, me too, because restaurants come and go too. So I could recommend something right now, and then 6 months from now it's not there anymore. So
Yeah.
it's always good to do that. Oh, I see that question. Tips on saving money on food. I did post something about that in the group. Food trucks. If you go to the food truck scene, it's very popular there. They have a great food cart or food truck cart pod on Maui. I think Kauai has one near Hanalei, and Oahu has several. I know in the Kaka'ako area of Honolulu, they have some food festivals every month, and it's a huge food truck area, and they have a theme every month. So I know they did before COVID. I don't know if they still do it, but I would think they do. But I could post more about that in the group, actually, to bring that up. But I also tell my clients to, if they can adjust their eating time, because they are going to be on a different time schedule, because Hawaii is 3 hours from the West Coast and 6 hours from the East Coast. So when you first get there, your time is going to be all messed up. If you can eat lunch at 3 o'clock and eat dinner at like 9 or 10 their time, you can eat happy hour. And happy hour is where you're going to save a ton of money, because you can get half price drinks and appetizers and different like food, because in Hawaii you have to serve food with alcohol. So at their establishment. So happy hour is where it's at. We used to do this all the time so we could afford to go out to eat when I lived there. So if you can adjust that to happy hour times, that's a way to save money. And then don't be afraid to check on Groupon too, and that'll help you. And then if they're staying in Waikiki, get out of Waikiki, because everything is expensive and inflated in Waikiki. I mean, when I lived there, nobody but tourists goes to Waikiki unless we work there. So we go to other places. There's so many great mom and pop places to go to. And then of course, fast food is going to be your cheapest option there. So
And even that's expensive.
and don't be afraid of like gas station spam musubi. So spam musubi is a really popular thing there. It's like sushi rice and seaweed with spam on it, and it's really filling, and it's a great thing to just grab and go, and it's cheap at the gas station. So which seems odd, but definitely.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, we spent a couple of days in Oahu, at Outrigger Beach. So we were in Waikiki before we went on the Pride of America, and we went to the ABC store and got the little single serving cereals.
Oh
uh,
yeah.
the little and a little milk, and we had a tiny refrigerator in our room, so we got those to have for breakfast, so that was cheap. And then they had sandwiches and stuff there, so the ABC stores there,
Oh yeah.
they're still a little more expensive than the convenience store here, but even cheaper than Burger King and McDonald's.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. If you have a car, get outside of the touristy area and hit some of the mom and pop places because they're going to be a little less expensive. And if you're going to get groceries, go to like they have Safeway and Foodland there. Go there instead of the ABC store because it's going to be a little cheaper. So,
Yeah.
and then if you have like a Safeway or Vons or that company Albertsons, their little discount card, it works there too. So
Sweet.
yeah.
We didn't have a car, so what we could get to driving or on the trolley.
Yeah. Well, the bus
we were
system is
there 2
also
days.
great on Oahu too. There's a post actually in the group about the bus system in Oahu and how to do all that. And if your clients are not afraid to use the bus, on Oahu, it's a fantastic way to get around and
Yeah.
it's cheap. So yeah, it goes over all the island. I mean, if you want to take it to the Dole Plantation, you can. It's a trek. It takes you a while, but you can get there. And then the main transit center is at the Ala Moana Mall, which is right next to Waikiki. So
Right.
it's really easy to get there and transfer. So
I enjoy that and just riding around like that.
and there's also Walmart. So Walmart is also cheaper.
We got souvenirs at Walmart.
Yeah. Yeah, tons of souvenirs at Walmart. So it's another great place.
Yeah. Thought there was something else I was gonna say, and I don't remember. Oh, when you mentioned Foodland, that's something. I had a client who was there, and I think the first or second day he stepped off the trolley and sprained his ankle really bad, and so he couldn't even leave his room. So I'm pretty sure it was Foodland that I used, and you can get online. They have a website, and you can just order
yeah.
deliver it. So I ordered, like the Maui chips and just some different little snack stuff to send to their room because I felt so bad for him. So that's, and they were reasonable, I thought, for Hawaii. So
Yeah.
that put on your radar is Foodland.
Yeah, and also on Oahu too, they have more conveniences like Uber and Uber Eats, and they have Aloha to go, which is like Uber Eats. So they have more of that stuff. I think Maui they have a pretty good presence of Uber and that kind of thing. It's not as plentiful as as Oahu. And Kauai does have Uber. I have taken Uber on Kauai. It can be a little like iffy depending on the time of day. So there are those ways for transportation too, but I wouldn't say it's not as reliable on the smaller, like the less populated islands as it is like Oahu. You can get around real easy with Uber. So
Good to know.
yeah,
Very good
I
to
used to
know.
drive for Uber on Oahu. So
So Oh, well, I haven't seen any new questions come in the past
okay.
3-4 minutes, so I guess we can call it done. And Rebecca,
I did good. I got it within the hour.
You did great. And yeah, you did a really good job sharing a lot of great information. Everybody's very thankful and appreciative. And
Awesome.
I'll talk to
And
you
then stay
soon.
tuned because I'm going to start doing some classes with more in depth on each island. So I'm working on that right now to make sure I have current and update information and I have everything. So when I get that completed, I'll be posting that in the group too. So
I wanted to ask you too. I'm glad you came back with that. Do you have any more FAMs planned in the future?
I have nothing planned right now, but I'm looking into it again for next spring. I'm looking at May again. May is usually a downtime for Hawaii. So I work with Highgate quite a bit. And they help me out quite a bit. So we'll probably be doing them. Maybe I'm thinking maybe Kauai this time. Because and then we can stay at some of their new resort that they just acquired. Just because they help us out with a great travel agent rate. So I might do Kauai and Big Island next time, and since I did Oahu and Maui this last time, but it's still in the works. So I gotta figure out dates for myself and then whatever, but I'll post that in the Facebook group too when I get that ready.
I was gonna say, everybody join her Facebook group to make sure that you get that information and watch
Yeah.
out for it.
Yeah,
And once again, yes, go ahead.
the last
I
fan we
was just
did in May, I did Oahu and Maui. I did run them a little ragged because there was a lot of resorts I wanted to see. So I told them ahead of time, but they're great troopers. But we saw a lot of great resorts, and I took them on a personal, private, my own tour of the road to Hana. So they got to see it from a local's point of view. And I took them to some of my favorite places on the islands too. So they got to see a little bit off the beaten path a little bit. So, and then we did Pearl Harbor together as well.
Great. I love being able to share those kinds of things with my clients.
Yeah.
Something a little different that they can go back and say, oh, you didn't do this when you were on Hawaii? I did.
Yeah, so I took them on the backside to Hana and the whole bit. So, and they were all falling asleep in the car. So, 'cause it was an all-day deal.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, Lillian, we are the recording will be on the TA Toolkit YouTube channel. I will share the link in my group, and I will be sharing it with Rebecca in case she wants to share it in her group as well. So for sure in the TA Toolkit group, and hopefully
Yeah, we'll post it in the other group too. Yeah.
Perfect. That'll reach a lot more people. All right,
Awesome.
Rebecca, have a great rest of your week. And Rebecca, thank you so much.
Yeah, aloha.
Aloha.